Hi everyone, and welcome back to the last video in the Eating for Happy Healthy Hormones mini course that you were taking through myself, Shannon Stone, Master Clinical Herbalist. This is the most daunting part of this, so we're going to go over it slowly and just make sure that you truly understand how to do this and how to start implementing this slowly by taking little baby steps, okay? So where are we going to start? We are going to start by tracking your cycle. If you have an app, that's great. If you want to use a notebook, that's perfect too. Whatever works for you to keep track of this is what you should do. So what you want to do is track from day one of one period to day one of the next period. Now, if you're like me and you don't have a period anymore, then there's ways, sometimes clues you can get from your body to figure out where you are. Like I can always tell when I'm ovulating because it literally, my one working ovary hates me and it always lets me know when it's ovulating. So I always know when I'm in that phase. So that'll help me at least determine, okay, so I'm in ovulation phase now, and so then technically 2 weeks from here I should have a period if I was still having one. So from 2 weeks from there, I would count 2 weeks, and then I would say, okay, that was day one of my period, and I kind of track from there and whatever. So there is ways to get around tracking if you don't have a period to kind of track by. You can figure out where you are, and then kind of track from there to there until you kind of get your cycles down a little bit more. It might take 2 to 3 months, 2 to 3 cycles to figure it out, but once you do, kind of just keep going in that way. So that's the way I do it, and that's the way I recommend to my clients. So the next thing that we're going to do, once we get our tracking of our cycles down, we've done about 2 to 3 months of tracking, and we kind of have a good idea of where our body cycles into what phase and when, and how long it stays there, and all this stuff. Then you're going to want to start syncing your food to each phase. This is called cycle syncing. So this is like when you're in the follicular phase, these are the foods you want to eat more of to help get the proper nourishment that your body needs during that phase over other things. But this, again, like I said, this is not a diet. This is not you must only eat these things or it's going to, ruin everything and you have to start over. That's not a thing. That doesn't happen. So it's okay if you go on vacation. Go enjoy vacation. Eat all the fun stuff, come back and go back to it. There is no need to sit there and deprive yourself of things or go on some kind of a hunt to find the right foods for that phase. It's okay to go enjoy life and come back. It's okay to go to a party and eat whatever, drink the alcohol if you drink, do whatever, and then come back to it the next day. There is no right or wrong way to do this. So you're going to slowly start doing that, start adding it in. Maybe if it's too hard to do all 4 phases at once, just do one phase. Start with just the follicular. And every time you come back to the follicular phase, you're going to start implementing those foods. And then once you kind of get that down, then add the ovulatory phase. So now you're doing 2 phases until you get to all 4 phases. There's no need to top right into this and do all of it all at once. If that's overwhelming to you, do the baby steps. Baby steps are best because baby steps help us to retain and form habits and get into what we need, the routine. Okay, so let's do that. And then this is also a good point. It's not something you have to do, but it is something that, especially if you're like in my case where you're not having a period anymore, it's good to do to help you keep track of your symptoms and when they occur so you can kind of figure out what hormones are out of whack during what phase. So that'll really help you as well. Like I said, if you have excess estrogen, then you have the heavy periods, acne, bloating, all that stuff, right? So if you notice that you get those and you're in certain phases, then you know your body's either producing too much estrogen or it's not clearing it out well enough. So your body is taking even the used up estrogen into account for the total and then you have more than you need. So definitely this is a good step. It's not a necessary step, especially if you maybe already know your cycle really well or you know yourself very well. You may not need to do this. If it's something you're just starting, like you're just now starting to track your cycle, you've never done it before, it's a good idea to have that with it. And many apps have a place where you can make notes for in there with each day or whatever, so you don't have to necessarily keep track of this in a separate notebook or something. You can keep it in that same app. But it's just a good idea because that kind of gets you understanding your body more and learning more about how your body is functioning currently. And it'll also be good to have because once you start eating this way and you start exercising this way and you start doing this and things start changing, you'll have a baseline that you can go back to and say, oh yeah, it used to be just like this and now I'm way over here and I'm well away from that. And you can see that change and it'll give you a lot more like, motivation to continue eating this way and continue nourishing your body in this way so that your hormones are happy and healthy. So then let's go into cycle syncing. This part you're going to definitely want a notebook and pen for, or paper and pen or whatever. Type it out, whatever works for you, but you're definitely going to want to take some notes on this. If unless you could also go back and just watch the video multiple times, whatever works, but this is definitely something you want to, it is a lot of information, so whatever works for you to retain that information, is a good time to go get that and do so that you can remember it easier and don't feel so overwhelmed. All right, so let's get started. Cycle syncing. You have, as we talked about, 4 phases to your menstrual cycle. This is just like a lunar cycle and the 4 seasons. Our bodies are intrinsically linked to nature, so we cycle through phases just like the moon and the earth does. This is why using the earth and its plants and animals can help us rebalance our cycles and bring them back into the proper rotation. This can take time, depending on how long your hormones have been unbalanced. So expect to take a minimum of 3 months or a minimum of 6 months, depending on where you were, and upwards of a year, sometimes a little bit more, to get it completely back to where it should be. So this is not a quick fix. This is, like I said, not a diet. This is not a fad. This is a way of nourishing your body and listening to its cues and taking that into account when you do certain things like exercises or eating certain foods to get everything back into it. It's a lifestyle change. It is not a fad diet. It is, and as such, it takes time to see the results. So it's okay that it takes that time. Be patient, stick with it, and keep going. You may not see the results right away, but you will see results down the road. And also, because this is not a diet, this is not a guarantee that if you eat this way, you're going to suddenly lose weight or you're going to, have anything happen with your weight. Our bodies will naturally settle into a weight that is good for your body to make happy, healthy hormones. Your body has to be a certain weight to make and produce proper and adequate amounts of hormones. So, if you're heavier than what your body's weight normally should be for proper hormone production, then you may lose weight. If you are underweight for what your body needs to produce hormones, you may gain weight on this. So don't be discouraged if your weight either doesn't change or it goes up. That is your body settling to where its perfect weight is to help you produce happy, healthy hormones. And this is where we need to do a lot of maybe mental work or something like that to help us come to being okay with wherever our bodies settle and loving our bodies where they are working at their best, even if it's not a weight that society tells us is an okay weight to have. Fuck society. You do what makes you and your body happy, and that's all that matters. So it's combined with this way of eating, combined with herbs, proper nutrition, and exercise will get your body to rebalance itself. But as I said, it may take time. So stick with it. Stick with me. I promise we will get you to where you are feeling better, and it just may take a little bit longer than you like. So which phase are we going to do first? We're going to do menstruation phase. This phase is typically, like I talked about earlier, a low energy phase. This is because your body's hormones are at the lowest point and you're also having a period. So you're, having the bleeding, you're losing iron, so you're just naturally at a lower energy state at this time. So during this time, you might feel withdrawn, internal, reflective. It's a good time of introspection, getting in tune with your intuition and your gut at this time. You're most in tune at this time with it. So if something that's been bothering you, all of a sudden you get clarity on how to fix it, this is probably why this is a good time. If this is I've noticed this myself when I was having my period, that in this cycle, this would be where things that had been bothering me, suddenly I was not willing to let them bother me anymore, and I was, changing things, and that's why, because my body was most in tune with my intuition, and I was like, yeah, I haven't been feeling this for a while, but now I really understand why I'm not feeling it, and it needs to change. So if you do work either in the home or outside of the home, this is a time where you want to evaluate, assess, and pay attention to anything in your work or your job or your business or your home that can be changed and improved. And this is a good time to start making a plan to implement those in one of your more energy phases. So give yourself permission during this time to rest and recharge so your body can prepare for the weeks ahead. So if you are in charge of your own schedule at work, this would be a good time to pick more days to work from home if that's an option, more days to, maybe only work a few hours here and there and, change up your schedule if you're able to. If you are just you just stay home, you're a stay-at-home parent. Obviously, with children, it's really hard to do this sometimes if you have children. So try to find ways to, kind of slow down during this time. Even with the kids, and try to get your body, give yourself permission. It's okay to rest and recharge. It's okay to stay home and not go out to all the activities or whatever. It's okay to just kind of rest and relax as much as possible. So for exercises, you want to think of soothing, restorative activities such as stretching, different kinds of twisting motions, yoga. These are all really good options. Tai Chi, really good options during this time. Toward the end of this phase, as your energy levels start rising, you can consider adding in long walks, one of the more active forms of Pilates, more involved yoga like hot yoga, if those feel good to you. If those sound terrible to you, don't do them. Stay with the other ones. Just use this part of your cycle to really just honor your energy levels, honor your body, honor what it needs at this point. And if that means that you do the same thing, only the yoga or whatever the whole time, that's fine. Listen to your body. It'll tell you what it needs. So, nutrition for this phase. During this time, your body really needs rich, comforting, soothing foods to help remineralize and replenish. So, this would be a time to make sure that you're definitely taking your zinc, taking your selenium, taking your B vitamins, making sure that you're getting proper protein levels so that your body can use all of that nutrition to increase your iron levels and get all of the nourishment and the nutrients that have been depleted from having a period restored so that when your period is done, you can get back to that high energy level and feel great instead of kind of having a rough transition from one to the other. So at this point, you want to focus on foods that help nourish your uterus. If you still have a uterus, I don't, but I still focus on these anyway because I just like them and they feel good at this time when my menstruation normally would be happening. If you don't have a uterus anymore, you can still focus on this, or you can skip some of these, whatever feels good for your body. So focusing on foods that nourish your uterus, such as broths, stews, miso with some tofu in it, kombu, kelp, those things, all very good to focus on. You can restore your blood and kidneys with sea vegetables and foods rich in iron and zinc. These include kidney beans, black beans, kale, kelp, nori, which is like the seaweed sheets that we talked about earlier, mushrooms, and beets. These are all good foods that are rich in iron and zinc and will help increase those levels and support your body through this period of bleeding if you're still having the bleeding. And if you're not still having the bleeding for whatever reason, they're still good to eat anyways, but it's not always a necessity at that point for you. Add Himalayan pink salt to your food and water. This helps rebalance electrolytes and minerals. You can also do sea salt alternatively if you don't want to do Himalayan pink sea salt or you can't find it. During this time, you're going to add some dark berries, kale, broccoli, bell peppers, cucumbers, watermelon, grapes, brown rice, wild rice, black rice, and buckwheat kasha into your eating as well to help really nourish that body. And during this time, if you are still having a period and you're maybe having heavy cycles, and even if they're not heavy, if you still just really fatigued during this time, adding the liquid chlorophyll supplement in can be really good because that helps increase iron and it helps reduce fatigue because as your body has proper iron stores, then your energy levels will go up as well. So that's something good. You can add that to smoothies. You can drink it by itself. Again, I can't guarantee it tastes very good, but it works very well. So those are all the things to do. And again, take notes. That's great. If you don't get this all down, you do have the video to refer back to because this will be a lifetime access for you. But also, you will be getting that handout here at the end of this video today that will list all of the foods for each phase so you don't have to feel like you need to remember all of this. All right, on to the next phase, the follicular phase. This phase helps your body prepare for ovulation. During this phase, you may feel optimized, energized, creative. You're going to feel like you're inclined to plan out your entire life and work for the next few weeks. So you're going to be very creative during this time. If you are particularly artistic, this might be a time where you find that you really start creating a lot of new things. If you're somebody who owns your own business, this is the perfect time to start coming up with a plan of new things to implement. If you work outside of the home or even in the home for somebody else, this is a good time that you'll notice that you'll start seeing ways to fix different processes in that business that maybe or maybe not optimized, and coming up with good ideas for changing things around to help everybody at your job. So these are all good things to do during this time. Use that energy and create whatever you need to create. Your mood and your brain are optimized at this time, so you have less brain fog, you have more executive function, so this makes planning a breeze. This is when estrogen levels start rising, so dopamine production rises with it because estrogen helps in the production of dopamine. So if you don't have proper estrogen levels, then you don't have proper dopamine levels either. And so that can definitely cause an impact on your mood and your brain function. It also boosts motivation because of that. So you may feel more energized, confident, happy, and more outgoing. This is the phase that if you people plan parties or there's things that you need to get done that normally you might not enjoy, this is the time to do it because you're more energetic and outgoing at this time, so you'll be more likely to enjoy doing those things at this point in your cycle. So then for exercise, this is the time to get really active. This is the best time to try a new workout, join a new gym, try a group class that maybe you've been too shy to start until now, or, anything like that, because you're more outgoing and confident at this time, so you'll feel great going and trying something new. Also, set out to challenge yourself during this time. Focus on active cardio-based workouts, so that can be dance classes, biking, hiking, rock climbing, swimming, rowing, a boot camp, martial arts. Go do that really heavy lifting you like. This is the perfect time for all of that stuff. And also, as a side note, this is the best time to start new habits as they are more likely to stick if you start them in this phase. And that goes even for those of us with ADHD where new habits are hard to form. This is one of the best phases that you're in your cycle to try new habits, because more than likely, even with your ADHD, you will stick with them more and they will become an actual habit. So, great time to try new things that you want to start, new routines in your life as well. So then, what do we do for nutrition during this time? As estrogen starts to rise, you may notice a lack of appetite at this time. This is completely normal. Increase in estrogen does decrease your appetite sometimes, so that is normal. Don't be alarmed by that. What you want to do is eat some more vitamin C rich fruits. This includes grapefruits, oranges, nectarines, lemons, limes, cherries, plums, pomegranates, things that are more rich in vitamin C. You want to increase your healthy fat intake. This means more avocados, more olives, more nut butters. And you want to add some vinegar at this time. ACV is best. Add it to your food. Take it as a shot daily. This is because during this time, as your estrogen is starting to rise, you can experience some digestive issues, as it can cause a decrease in the acid in your stomach. And so that can cause some heartburn issues and some indigestion and things like that. So adding a shot of vinegar to your food or taking one by itself daily is a good idea to help your body offset that imbalance that may occur. Perfect time for some probiotic-rich foods. Again, as your estrogen is increasing, it can kind of, because it had so low for a while, can mess up, like I said, your digestive system, and that does include your intestines as well. So this is a good time to not only take your daily probiotic still, but add some probiotic rich foods. This includes pickled veggies, sauerkraut, kimchi, and you can do some unsweetened yogurt as well. I like the plain Greek yogurt best, and I add some berries to it and some gluten-free granola as well to kind of give it a little bit of kick. And then if I'm really in the mood for something sweet, I get some Enjoy Life chocolate chips. I like that brand because they are all natural and they don't include anything that you shouldn't be having in them, as well as the fact that they are definitely gluten and dairy free. So for those people who that's important for or who needs to eat less of those foods, those are wonderful. And I'll add a sprinkle of chocolate chips for a little sweet treat during this time as well. You can eat lots of greens. This means like romaine, Bibb, or Boston lettuce. Iceberg lettuce should probably never be eaten. It's literally just like 90% water and no nutrients. So if you can, avoid that all the time, and definitely make sure you're eating lots of romaine, Bibb, or Boston lettuce. Those are full of the most nutrients in the lettuce family. Eat oatmeal. This is very nourishing and it also gives you lots of energy. So if you're out there doing all kinds of exercising at this time, you definitely are going to need some more energy. So the oatmeal is great for this. You can add in berries, flaxseed, cashew butter, anything to kind of, give it a little kick and not make it so boring and plain. And very good and nourishing to eat prior to a workout. And if you are not gluten free or you're choosing to eat bread at this time, then choose sourdough bread or sprouted grains bread. These are breads that are easier on your digestive system to handle, so it's best to eat those. And you can add some avocado on top to get those healthy fats that you need at this time because your body is going through a lot of energy, so you're going to need that healthy fat to help that energy level and help your body handle it as well. So again, this stuff will also be on the handout, so um, you can get it from there as well if you didn't get it all written down now. All right, the next phase is ovulation. This is a phase when you are a magnet for desire and attention. You are at your most fertile, and this is a very fun and flirty phase. So, this influences you to be more social, and this is the peak of your cycle. So, in this phase, you have more energy than any other phase. So, intense workouts are fine and encouraged. Go do them all. Sex also can count as an intense workout at this time as well, especially depending on what kind of sex you have. And just because this is your ovulatory period, make sure you use protection of some sort if a pregnancy is not the outcome you were looking for at this time. So, this does increase your libido, so you will find yourself wanting to have more sex and go enjoy all the sex. But if a pregnancy is not your intended outcome, do make sure you're doing something to keep that from happening at this period. This phase for exercises, you're gonna do again high energy stuff, so like HIIT, different kinds of cardio, spin classes, running, circuit training, kickboxing, martial arts, hot yoga. Go do all that heavy weightlifting, plyometrics, boot camp classes, and again, sex. Yes, sex can count as exercise, especially depending on how you're doing it. So this is all good stuff to add in and go get all of that energy out. So for nutrition, what do we want to do for nutrition at this time? At this time, we want to focus on anti-inflammatory raw foods with plenty of fiber so we can help our bodies clear metabolized estrogen, and this will help decrease any PMS symptoms that may occur in the luteal phase coming up next. So plenty of raw vegetables like bell peppers, spinach, jicama, tomatoes, or you can lightly steam or bake asparagus or Brussels sprouts as well. Those are full of all of the fiber and nutrients that you need at this time. Focus more on tropical fruits, so pineapple, papaya, coconut, guava, kiwi, mango, cantaloupes, figs, and then you can add some strawberries or raspberries in there as well. This is a point where you want to go easy on the carbs. Don't cut them out completely. As we've talked about, carbs are not the enemy, carbs are needed, but this is going to be a point where you want to eat maybe a little bit less than you normally do in other phases. And that's just because this phase tends to be a very inflammatory phase, and sometimes carbs in some people can make you feel more bloated. So it's just phase to kind of go easy on them, but don't cut them out completely. Lots of sesame or sunflower seeds, and to help with any of the inflammation you might be feeling, you can add some turmeric to your food. It's a very good anti-inflammatory. So find ways to add that in as well during this phase to help if you notice that you're feeling more bloated in this phase than maybe others. All right, and the last phase then is the luteal phase. This phase is when your energy levels definitely slow down in preparation for menstruation occurring or a pregnancy starting. During this time, If your hormones are still unbalanced, this is the time that hormone symptoms are going to appear. Remember, these are not normal, so as you rebalance things, these should disappear and go away. So during this phase, you gain clarity and your intuition gives you the answers you seek. You may feel very detail oriented during this time, want to check off that to do list, finish up projects. So if you still have the energy during this phase to do that, go right ahead and honor what your body wants and go check off all that stuff. You may also be more adept at this point at keeping up with laundry and mundane household chores. Hallelujah. That stuff usually does not come easily to me due to the ADHD and the executive dysfunction. So I do find, though, when I'm in this phase personally, that I do seem to get more done. So this is the time to catch up on some stuff, perhaps, if you've gotten behind, like I tend to do throughout the rest of the month. All right, during this phase, if things are still unbalanced, this is when cravings are going to occur. So you may notice that happening. These are usually indicative of a deficiency of some kind or a blood sugar imbalance. So this is your body's way of asking for what it wants and needs for this period of your cycle, okay? So chocolate, if you're craving chocolate, it's more than likely because you're low in magnesium. So because chocolate does contain magnesium, in case you didn't know. So increase your magnesium glycinate to 2,000 milligrams a day. And of course, if you still want some chocolate, go eat some chocolate. Go eat a piece of chocolate. It's not going to hurt you. It's certainly not going to break or make anything if you have some chocolate. But definitely have the chocolate while also increasing your magnesium glycinate levels as well. You start craving carbs. This could be because of a possible blood sugar imbalance or a deficiency of B vitamins. Carbs contain lots of the B vitamins, which is why our bodies will crave that, because maybe we're low on those. So start taking 2 of your B complex tabs at this time and increase your vitamin B12 sublingual liquid supplement at this time if you haven't been able to find all of them in liquid. So just go ahead and do that. And of course, if you have the craving and increasing doesn't help very quickly, go ahead and eat something that is carb based, because it'll also help by increasing those levels. And it's okay to honor that sometimes with what your body needs. Carbonated drinks, it's because you may be dehydrated. Go drink a bunch of water. And salty foods, your body is low in sodium and other minerals at this time. So if you're craving those salty foods, that is why. So add Himalayan sea salt in, as well as regular sea salt to your meals. Start on that. That'll increase those minerals and the sodium that your body is looking for. But again, if you just really want like a fucking pretzel, go eat a pretzel. It's okay. Again, this, like I said, this is not a diet. This is a lifestyle change, and it's okay to honor our cravings during this way of eating. So, exercise. This phase, like I said, usually lasts for 2 weeks. Sometimes at the beginning half of it, you still have lots of energy left, so go ahead and continue any of the strenuous exercises from the ovulation phase if that feels good to you and your body. Once it starts to wane, you want to scale back to more core-focused workouts such as Pilates, Vinyasa yoga, mat work, stretching, body weight exercises. Go use the elliptical machine, walking on a treadmill or out in nature, and scale back down to like the light weightlifting here instead. So those are all good things to focus on and just honor the energy levels that your body has at this point. So then for nutrition, this is when your metabolism speeds up. You will notice an increase in appetite and cravings. This is because in this phase, your progesterone levels start increasing, and progesterone helps speed up your metabolism. So during this time, you're going to notice that you want all the food and you are starving, and like no matter how much you eat, it just does not seem to be enough. That is normal, and that is fine. Honor your body's desire for food. It's okay to eat when you're hungry. Eat warming foods and complex carbs. These will help stabilize that estrogen dropping, so it'll keep your mood stable, it'll curb cravings, and it will help with some of that increase in your appetite as well. So lots of that. Lightly steamed leafy vegetables, leafy greens, or cruciferous vegetables. Cruciferous vegetables are like cauliflower, broccoli, kale, that kind of stuff. Those are all full of lots of vitamins and nutrients that you need at this time to help keep the estrogen stable and the progesterone from rising too quickly. You want to eat foods rich in B vitamins, calcium, magnesium, and fiber at this point to help your body with all that stuff it's going to need for when your period or pregnancy starts in the next couple of weeks. So that's brown rice, millet, cauliflower, parsnips, all the squashes. sweet potatoes, etc. You want to also increase fiber-rich foods because during this time, your appetite is increased, but your energy levels are kind of slowing down, so you're maybe not moving as much. So that means that maybe your bowels aren't moving as regularly as they normally do during this time. So you definitely want to increase your fiber at this point to help keep everything moving as it's supposed to. So that includes apples, pears, peaches, dates, raisins, fresh mint, spirulina, and cacao powder. Spirulina is a powder that you can add to your smoothies. You can add into a drink of some sort. You can throw it in some food. It's just very good and full of lots of fiber and other nutrients that your body needs. So that's good to take all the time, but especially in this phase. And then cacao powder is the raw form of processed cocoa powder, so it still contains all of the minerals and nutrients that you need. As well as fiber. So if you can add that to smoothies again or some kind of protein shake that you're having and get all the nutrient and minerals and fiber as well during this time. This is the phase that you're going to want to reduce caffeine and alcohol at. So if you do drink caffeine or you do drink alcohol, you're going to want to limit the amounts that you're doing during this phase. As this is a phase where your body is already a little stressed as it's getting ready to start a period or it's getting ready to start a pregnancy. And as such, we're going to help calm those stress levels by reducing your caffeine and alcohol and keep things kind of here instead of, again, as we talked about, all over the map. So, that was everything for the cycle syncing. I know that probably seems like a lot and it is a little overwhelming. So, like I said, the handout is coming and it'll either be emailed to you or attached to this course in some way, shape, or form for you to download. So, definitely be on the lookout for that. It's something you can easily print off, hang on your fridge, and it tells you all of the foods during which phase are best to incorporate at that time. Uh, so, that's definitely very useful and that'll kind of help. As I said, if it's overwhelming, um, start by doing, I'm only going to do the follicular phase for the next, 2 cycles or whatever. And then I'm going to add in the ovulatory phase. So do baby steps. Again, there's no need to rush and start all of this at once because it can be overwhelming. And if we get overwhelmed, then we won't do it. So incorporate this in a way that honors your body and your abilities. And if you need any help or you have any questions, please contact me. My email address is thenomadApothecary@gmail.com. Definitely send me questions there. You can attach questions to this course in the comments and ask me that way. And or you can go to thenomadapothecary.com and you can ask questions that way. Contact me however feels best for you, and I will answer your questions. I will hold your hand and walk you through this. I will be the support system that you need if you don't have one at home. So definitely please reach out if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you have any questions, if you need some support of some kind. I do appreciate you buying this course and attending all of the videos. I absolutely enjoy doing this, and I really hope you learned a lot, and I hope that you can get some help with balancing your hormones. And again, if you would like some more assistance, eating this way will definitely help, but there's also some herbs and things that we can incorporate to help as well. So if you would like to learn more about that and the ways that I can help on top of this way of eating, please get a hold of me through one of those channels, either email or my website, and let me know, and we can work out what is a good day to do a consultation and get some other things started to kind of help your body more during this time and support it in what it needs the best. So I look forward to hearing from you. Again, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for this. I hope you learned a lot, and I hope that you have a really good rest of your day, and I will see you later. Bye bye.